Hello and welcome. My name is Fancy Valefor, and today I'll be playing Love Nikki and talking about feelings. So, the subject of feelings is pretty broad, but I just want to start out by saying your feelings are valid. This is something I've needed to hear myself when I was feeling like I had so much to be grateful for, but at the same time, I wasn't feeling well. As someone who has dealt with anxiety and depression, this is something that I struggle with, and being told that my feelings were valid, even though they felt like they were conflicting, was such a big thing for me, and I want that for you too. Oh boy, this is one of those tricky challenges on Love Nikki. So, on the subject of feelings, I feel like sometimes people avoid their feelings rather than letting themselves feel them, accepting that that's what they feel, and moving on. Sometimes it can be really hard, much easier said than done. But the fact is, when you can accept your feelings and let them go, that's when you really find release. A good technique to try when you're having trouble with your feelings is remembering to breathe. This is a big one for me. Controlling my breathing in one way or another, either by meditating or doing breathing exercises, or even doing something like exercising, can really help a lot because you're putting your mind on something else. Another good thing to remember is that feelings are temporary. The fact is that you are not going to feel one way forever. It's going to pass. Whether that feeling is good or bad, you'll be feeling something else soon. And that's really helpful to know when the feeling is depression that you're feeling right in the moment. It's also good to remember that thoughts can affect feelings. What we think about has a huge effect on how we feel. Sometimes I struggle with my thoughts being very dark and dismal, especially when I'm going through a depressive mood. In these cases, I try to think of things I'm grateful for. And I also try to refocus my energy on something else, like, for example, taking a nap, or playing a video game, or talking to someone I trust. Sometimes it's not the right timing to be able to do any of those things, and in those cases, I think it's important to take at least just a few minutes to yourself, even if that's all you can do. Even those few minutes are going to help you immensely. I want to talk more about gratitude and also about self-care in another video. But for right now, I believe feelings need to be balanced by logic. It's important to know that just because you feel one way doesn't mean that you have to act on it. Just because you're feeling angry, obviously, doesn't mean that you need to act on it. Just because you're feeling happy doesn't mean you always are going to act on it because it's not appropriate to every single situation. You know, it's kind of a complicated thing. But the fact is, it'll balance out. if you're having trouble and things aren't balancing out for you, I think it's important to seek out help, either from someone you trust or a professional, who I hope you would also trust if you're seeking them out for help. I believe that therapy can do a lot to help us with our feelings. Because the fact is, I'm not a professional. I don't have the skills that they have. They went to school and learned and have experience in dealing with it that I just don't have. And there's nothing wrong with looking for help. In fact, I'd say it's a show of strength to look for help from other people. It means that you're recognizing, yes, I have this weakness, and I want to improve on it. It's nothing to be ashamed of, and in fact, should be applauded. I know I've definitely had times where my feelings were taking over, either where I felt helpless, hopeless, worthless, useless, all kinds of feelings. But those feelings passed. And while they were there, I did my best to address them with the reality of things and my logic. For example, remembering that, yes, I do have worth. Even if it's hard to see right now, it doesn't mean that I don't have any. And yes, I am useful. Even if I'm not doing every single thing that I think I should be doing, the fact is that I'm still accomplishing my goals. Or if I'm still having trouble with accomplishing my goals, I can work toward doing better. It doesn't mean that I have to drag myself down for it. Certainly, I believe that many of us are really hard on ourselves, and sometimes we're hard on ourselves for having those feelings. But you don't need to be ashamed of your feelings. Only make sure that your actions aren't being affected negatively by them. So, with all that said, I'll end the video here. It was lovely talking with you, and remember, you matter. What you do matters.